We're good. Okay. Good evening, everyone. The regular meeting of the Grambling Legend Square Taxing District is now called to order. February the 4th, 2024, April 4th, I'm sorry, thank you. 2024, City Hall, 127 King Street, Grambling, Louisiana. May we stand for the prayer and the pledge of allegiance, please? Our Father, our God, we thank you for this day, and we thank you for this opportunity that you've given us to come together and deliberate over the city business one more time. We thank you right now for your holy presence within our meeting, and we thank you that we are led and guided by the Holy Spirit. It is in Christ Jesus' name that we do pray and ask it all. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You all have a copy of the agenda. Can I get a motion to adopt the agenda?
I move that we adopt the agenda as printed.
Second.
It's been moved by Council Lady Ponton that we adopt the agenda, and second by Councilman Brown. Are you ready for the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion is carried. Do you have a copy of the previous minutes for our meeting dated March the 7th, 2024?
Yes.
Yes.
Can I get a motion to adopt the previous minutes?
I move the adoption of the previous minutes.
Can I get a second?
Second.
It's been moved by Council Lady Smith and second by Councilman Lewis that we adopt the previous minutes of the Grambling Legend Taxing Square District dated March the 7th, 2024. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion is carried. We are up to public comments. Any public comments as it relates to today's agenda? I see there are none. We are now into what we call our new business, and we do have some visitors here with us today, and I will introduce them. Raise your hand, please. Mr. Barry Harper. All right. And Mr. Ricky, pronounce your last name? Ruffino. And they are with Core and Man, and they are going to give us a brief presentation as it relates to our water meters. We are in the process of evaluating new water meters for the city of Grambling, and these are Core and Main is one of the popular water meter, and we invited them to do a presentation to the council as well. You may have the floor.
Appreciate this opportunity, Mayor. Thank you for having us to all the council. I'm just going to do a brief overview. Please be as interactive as you would like. Get mic'd up. Can you hear me now? So we're just, as I was saying, thank you for the opportunity to be here today. We look forward to the opportunity to help y'all move to the next level as far as water meters go. We are Core Maine. I'll get a little bit into who we are in the next slide. So Core Maine is a national waterworks distributor. Our focus is on the waterworks industry. We breathe it, breathe, sleep, live waterworks. I'm a meter specialist for Core Maine. I'm responsible for the state of Louisiana. So I cover the state as a meter specialist. Barry Harper is the outside sales rep. So he sells the other waterworks products along with the meters, but because meters are such a specialty niche product, Core Maine puts a specialist in the state to come alongside the sales team to help on projects, to help in situations like this where we get to show y'all what we have to offer. Core remains financially strong. We're going to be here. We've been here a long time. We're going to be here a long time. We're not just fly-by-night company. We're over $6.7 billion in sales in the U.S. and over 275 locations. Our nearest location is right here in Bossier. So we stock our products there, Neptune products there. Over 5,000 employees, headquartered in St. Louis, Missouri. We've done over 1,500 meter projects as far as the drive-by system you were looking at. So we should know what we're doing by now, right? So we've done them. We've just recently wrapped up Wesley Chapel, which is a good project we just did. Feel free to call them, contact them, ask them how it went, how they're satisfied with the product, how they're satisfied with the installation, and I'm sure they'll speak well of it. We're also just wrapping up Mount Zion as well, which is close to here as well. So we have some projects we've just done recently, which gives you, feel free to reach out to them, give you a good feel of how it went for them. Like I said, call them. Yes, sir.
How many meters was in Wesley Chapel replacement and Mount Zion?
Wesley Chapel, I believe, was a little over 2,000, if I remember correctly. Mount Zion was close to 600.
Thank you.
And then we have, within the state, we probably have about 60 systems.
Okay.
Off the top of my head. I don't count them. I just make sure they're working well and help them get implemented. So, support is a big pillar of strength for our company. We pride ourselves on supporting our customer after the sale. So it's one thing to sell somebody a system. These systems last a long time. So we want to make sure we're there for the duration. My boss, she ran a water system, so she expects our service level to be what she would want sitting on the other side of the desk. So because of that, we've built, like I said, myself, meter specialist in Louisiana, and I have a support team when it gets super technical. Cody Richardson, Jeremy, Don, Roger, Victor, Stacy. So you have their cell phone numbers. It's not like you call a 1-800 number and hope they call you back one day. You have their cell phone numbers. You have my cell phone number. I'm kind of like the first line of defense. You have Barry's number. Barry's right here. If you need something, Barry, we've had Barry read systems before. We had Barry go help people data log information out of meters. So there's a lot of resources at hand to help support the system for the longevity of the system, not just, I sold you a system, have fun with it. Another thing we'll do, and I probably should bring it up later on in the slides, but is any return product. So if there's a meter that goes bad for some reason, call us up. Barry comes, he picks it up, we ship it off. We don't charge you the freight. We ship it off for you. That helps. We found it helps for a lot of reasons, because a lot of times people have good intentions. Hey, I'm going to ship this product back on RMA to get a new one, but it just priorities. I got a leak, or sewer's overflowing, or, so it doesn't get done. This just makes it easy, makes the process easy. If something happens, hey, Barry, come pick it up. Pick it up, we box it up, we ship it off. Neptune ships your replacement back. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, and then, sales, outside sales rep Barry, district manager is Glenn Howe, and Shelly Ray Burker. So, Core Main as a whole, we have a metering initiative within our company. Shelly's my boss. I work for her. Our whole world is meters, and we come alongside the sales team that sells everything else, the Waterworks product. Yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry, how long did you say Wesley Chapel been using?
So we put them in, we probably wrapped up towards the end of the year. Yeah, but we also have systems in the area that have 15 years, plus. So we have a lot of older systems as well as newer systems. So, we can get you a list of references if we haven't provided that already. So it's across the board. So you can call someone that's had a recent installation, see how that went. You can call someone that's been supported by us for 15 years and see how that's going. So we're an open book. Call them. And
I have a question with, when Barry picks up the meter that's broken, do we have a replacement at that time so we can continue to read, or what happens during the interim?
Typically, when you do the project, you may order extra 6 registers or extra 6 meters, so you would just rotate out. So it does take a little time to get it shipped off and shipped back, but typically we'll have our customers order a few extra at the time of the project, And that way you have them on the shelf. If something happens, you can do, and then send them in, and it takes a little time to get back.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Another question.
Yes,
Is
sir.
this something that we could do ourselves? Do we always have to call you guys to replace a meter or something like that?
No, sir. No. I heard him. Yeah, I heard him fine.
It's just a reminder because we're streaming, and so the mics go directly to the microphone.
Want me to ask the question again? Is this something that the city of Grambling can maintain from time to time, like replacement of meters and different things like that, if need be?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
We'll help you if you need help. But as far as, a meter change out, yes. If you want services, we have services that we can do that, but we find it most cost advantageous to the utility if their guy changes.
What's the average life expectancy of your meters?
So the meters are, it depends on the meter. So this is, and I'll get into a little bit more detail, but this is called the Pro Coder. So this is has a dialed reading, so it's a manual read meter as well as a radio read meter. So there's a nutating disc in here that spins. It spins a magnet that spins your dials. So you'll typically, these meters will typically last, we have them in the ground for 15 years some places. When you get to that point, your accuracy starts to dip, so you really want to have a plan in place probably around year 12, 13 to make sure you're getting the most out of it, I guess you'd say. But the warranty on it is 20 years, and then it's 10 years full and 10 years prorated. This other model, which is called our Mach 10 meter. So this is a ultrasonic meter. So it has no moving parts within it. It measures the flow going through a tube. And this has a 20-year warranty, 20-year accuracy warranty. So that would be like having a new meter in the ground for 20 years.
Which meters Wesley Chapel using?
The Pro Coder.
Okay.
And you really, and I was telling him, it's really boils down to preference. Yeah, we can pass them both around. It really boils down to preference of, what you desire, but you really can't go wrong. Even the positive displacement meter, we have systems in Texas that they're 19 years and still pretty accurate meter. So ultrasonic, you're only going to get in a digital screen. That's the pros and the cons. You keep your accuracy for a long time, but it's going to be a digital screen. It doesn't matter what brand you go with because of the technology of ultrasonic. So if it goes dead, it goes dead, to where the Pro Coder, you can still go get a read off of it. It can still operate as a manual read meter.
So this one is probably the most expensive.
Correct.
Say that again, Councilman.
This is the most expensive one.
Mm-hmm.
Correct. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. We have two options. So one option is you would put towers up in the city, and that information, thank you. That information would go to those towers, and that tower collects that information, sends it through a backhaul through the internet to the head-end system, which is called Neptune 360. And then the other option is we have a cellular endpoint where you don't have infrastructure. It's just a cellular endpoint in the ground. So there's other options. And then for our standard AMI, if you say you decide to go drive-by, we'd say put the external antennas on it, show. And that way, if you ever want to go AMI, you just have to stand up the infrastructure. So it's completely migratable. No one would have to go back and reprogram anything. So it's Neptune does a pretty good job of build on backwards and forwards, so we don't leave our customers hanging. We kind of prepare for the future. Going back to support, besides the core main support of the Neptune product, Neptune also has a support line and a sales representative in the area. So, but it usually never gets to them, honestly. Usually we take care of it. A little bit about the Neptune. So Neptune is the meter brand that we carry. Neptune has been making water meters longer than Ford has been making cars. Give you a little hint. They've been around a long time, not going anywhere. They have over 4,000 reading systems, probably closer to 5 now. So the information is a little bit dated, and a lot of people are moving to the automated process because manual read meters are kind of going away with due to manpower and different things. And just like everything else, COVID's changed that dynamic a good bit too. They manufacture right in Tallahassee, Alabama, so it's an American-made product. You can go drive to the factory. How many hours? We took a client there. Barry drove a client. It's about 8 hours from here, 8.5 hours. So, but you could drive over there and watch it being made. So, American-made product right there in Tallahassee, Alabama. Something happened. Sorry, bear with me 1 second. I don't know what happened.
I don't know if you get into that. Can I ask a question while you flipping through? This includes the software?
Yes, so Neptune 360 is a software as a service. So you don't have to worry about keeping up with what's the latest version on my computer. It's software as a service. So you log in just like you would log into, say, your banking or social media or something, but you have more authentication than just social media. So you, like your banking, so you would log in through that. And the good thing about that is they're always updating. They're always creating new things, so it's not like you bought software and it's outdated by the time it ships to you. It's a constant process of them improving the product, improving the software, and that would be a yearly fee.
Okay. I have a follow-up question for
Absolutely.
that. Will you be able to, from your desk, do the readings and cutoffs?
So that would be a question. I'm sorry, I don't know your name, but Monica asked. So that would be you would need the infrastructure, either the cellular endpoints or the towers to do that.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize. Ms. Prudham, do you have a question?
Keep going. This is a little snapshot. We've probably added another 15 systems in Louisiana since we did this. That just gives you an idea of the footprint we have. We call it fall under the Texas region as far as metering goes, so which is good because if you need meters and you don't have something, you can pull from their inventory. Neptune's the largest provider of meters in the Texas region, so we have a lot of meters and a lot of systems going, a lot of support. So. We'll get into a little bit of how the network works. So as you were asking, so if you can see here, the meters are on the left. There's obviously different ways of collecting the data. So the main thing is getting the meter data to the head-end system. So you can walk by, which you can still do that with our system. Download on the app and you can plug it in if you wanted to. Drive by, which is going to be your most economical, friendly way of doing things. And fixed network, where you would have towers or cellular. But the main thing is it's how you get the information, and then with the fixed base and cellular, you're going to have more information coming across. So you drive by, you're going to get one piece of information, and you drive by that month, which is good. You know, you're using it for billing. If you have a question and someone questions their bill, even in the drive-by system, you can go do what we call a data log. It gives you 96 days of data, of hourly information. So you can look, you can show them on a graph, you can show them in granular information of how much water was used per hour, spikes and valleys and so forth and so on. So you still have that information at hand if there's a customer asking and questioning bills and so forth. Yes, ma'am?
I'm assuming that with drive-bys and being able to just have it read, by that you don't have to use as much, I guess, sweat equity. So have you
Correct.
received any data as to how has this improved efficiency for communities or municipalities. Like normally it may take us 3 or 4 days or a week to read our meter. So with this technology, what have you seen, I guess, in the percentage of decrease or there's percentage of increase when it comes to efficiency for municipalities with the reading?
Right, so typically a municipality size, I'm assuming it's around 1,000 meters, a little over 1,000 meters. You not driving the whole system, but you're probably looking at a few hours to read it. So one thing is, yes, you're gaining time. You're also allowing people to do other things. So it depends on how you manage that, the time savings, but also the accuracy of the information is important too. And then also on the back end, how do y'all read? Do y'all write it? Is there a handheld y'all put the current read?
The writing, yeah, I believe they were.
So if everything's manual,
Writing.
obviously
So
that.
it's writing, yes, it's
Right.
writing.
So that creates an opportunity for errors. We're human, right?
Right.
So also, you automatically pull in that information to a billing system instead of having it manually. So you're going to save time on that as well. So accuracy, time, reading time, administrative time. So it's hard to put a value on that. It's hard to say, hey, but I can let you know it's probably a few hours to read the system, to drive around and read it.
And
Is-
then, I'm sorry, Mayor.
Go ahead.
who's it? Oh, Mr. B, go ahead.
No, you go
Yes, Mr.
ahead.
Lewis.
With this also, sometimes we won't know about like a leak until a customer has told us about a leak.
Correct.
And so with this detect leaks, and also does it give us some type of alert to say, hey, I'm no longer working like I'm intended to work? I know we have the replacement thing, but is that replacement just when we go to read it and see that it's not like giving us communicating back to the truck or whatnot? Or does it send us an alert to say this is performing as it should?
Right. So in the drive-by scenario, you're going to get that information when you drive by and read it. In a AMI, fixed base cellular, you can look at that. You can pull reports hourly, daily, however you want to do it. But when you do a drive-by, and it will throw flags for leak detection. What we call it continuous consumption nowadays. Because it could be somebody left a hose running in. It will throw a flag, and when you pull in your readings, it gives you a list of those.
Thank you.
Is there any type of learning curve as far as the people that's doing the meter reading? Is there any type of class or any type of instruction they're there to get? Or is this something that the average person can do?
It's pretty easy to use. It's very user-friendly. I've worked for another meter brand years ago, and it wasn't that easy, but I will say Neptune has made it pretty simple. We also do a full training, and we also have that staff of people I've showed you within the core main team, they're a phone call away. So usually they call me first, or Barry first, and it's usually, something simple, just overlooked. But yes, we're here, we do a thorough training, and then we have ongoing help. And we've trained customers that had people come and go. It happens, and when new people came on, we train them, and we don't typically charge a fee for that.
Okay.
So a lot of people do, but we try not to because we just, again, my boss sat on the water system side. She's like, I wouldn't want to do that, so take care of me. And there needs to be boundaries too, right? We don't want to be here training every 3 weeks, right? I don't think that would be the case.
Would this system make you aware if you forgot one, like for instance, the guy reading the meters, he got a phone call or something, skipped the house, went to another? We didn't let him know that he missed one or two?
Yeah, so two things. So it's app-based, so you can put it on a phone or a tablet. There is a mapping within that, so that the dots turn. And you can just hit missed, and it'll show you any missed.
Okay. Okay. It'll green,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, bang and turn green.
I'm sorry, Marge, I was asking, is there any way we can tell if we missed one? If the reader missed the house, got an interruption, and it does have the capability of making them aware of that.
How close do you have to be to the meter in order to get it read?
That's a great question. Everyone asks it. It's a few contingencies. One, so radio frequency is interesting because it can change with the weather. So some days it reads way, way far because of the weather. Some days you got to get a little bit closer. But a system your size, you'll probably read in, if I had to guess, 2 or 3 hours. Wesley Chapel, I don't think y'all nearly as spread out as Wesley Chapel, right?
No, no.
Yeah.
So, I guess to give you an example, a town that I've read for in the past is Rodessa, and I've gotten started and gotten 30% of the reads done before I pull up the parking lot. It really depends on the concentration. If everything's real close, you'll pick it up, assuming the weather's good and all that.
All that to say, there's factors within it, but it's going to be really way faster than reading it by hand and way more accurate.
Well, I had another question.
Yes, sir.
Can you explain the implementation process or the steps of?
I have a slide. If you
Oh,
wanna
okay,
wait
go
till I
ahead,
get to that. And it's just, it shows you Neptune's, and this is in the drive-by arena, because my understanding was this is what y'all were looking toward, leading towards. Just the market share we have on drive-by systems in the United States. It's a lot. So, you're one slide short.
Okay.
So, this is just step-by-step process. Obviously, we need to be awarded the contract before we can do anything, right? And then we review, sign contracts, POs entered, in pre-deployment planning. So we'll want to make sure we'll have a pre-deployment meeting, check status, check timelines, see where everyone's comfortable with. And then we would work with the billing company. So I'm not sure what billing company y'all are on. So we want to work with them to create a import-export file.
Yes.
So it can marry and talk to the Neptune system, the Neptune 360 system. Also in the installation process, we'll have them create a change-out file. So if it's a reputable brand, that change-out file will be uploaded into our software. The software we use for the installation. So they go in, they enter the old meter, they take the pictures. So we'll take a picture before, a picture when we open the box, picture of the valve, a picture of the old meter, the old read, the new meter, new radio number, and then the box when it's closed up. So that information's, pictures are taken, creates a work order in the software, but it also creates that information's the old meter number, new meter number, address, location, and then that can be automatically uploaded if it's a reputable billing company to push into the billing system instead of someone having to manually input that information. That answer your question?
Yes, a follow-up. Will there be like a logistical plan that we could roll out to our residents to say we are possibly going to install X amount of meters this day, then X amount of meters the next day, as long as we can notify them when they're metered to expect a certain part of town, maybe.
Yeah, typically normal utilities, they'll push out with their bill. Hey, this is what we have it coming up. Also on social media, hey, this is what we're doing. Right. Doing a meter change out. Be aware of someone may be in your yard. Our installers, they'll knock the door.
Okay.
See if someone answers, let them know, hey, we're about to change your water meter. It doesn't take long to change them. And then if no one's home, they'll hang a door knocker just to let them know that, hey, I was there, I was here at your house, change your water meter.
Good deal.
So, and then y'all will have access to the software too. If you want to see like what was installed that day, you'll have, I could get y'all a login for that installation software.
Good deal. Thank you.
You're welcome. So Neptune 360 integration, that is with the Neptune software. Then we have a pre-con meeting, delivery of product, notify the customers. 5 minutes left?
Yes.
Start meter installations and some meters. And then we just had the duration of the project, so we can give you a good estimate of how long it's going to take. Once you really get started, you know what you're dealing with. We can give an estimate and refine an estimate as we get in the field starting to do installs. Meter to bank, it just shows you your meter is your cash register. How do you get that information? Through your billing, through that data collection. And we talked about multiple ways of doing that. On my favorite side, there's always a cheaper. There's always someone who'll do it cheaper.
Is that what that is?
Beware of cheap. No, we have a very cost-effective. We have a very good product at a cost-effective price, but there is stuff out there that's less expensive or cheaper. Yes. That's up to the utility. We don't charge the consumer anything. If the utility would like to put a charge on there for something, to
We
help
have,
compensate
we have funding,
technology.
we have a grant
That's
to
fine.
purchase and install the meters.
Okay, then
So
that's-
that cost will, hopefully, the total cost, once we get the bids in, would be all-inclusive of the product itself, the installation, as well as the software and everything necessary to do a turnkey job.
Okay.
So it wouldn't be any cost to the citizens other than their water bill,
right.
which,
And look,
go ahead.
as a neutral party, I'll say this. It takes money to keep a system up and running. And I think part of the reasons we run, there's so many cities and towns, villages that are in trouble and their systems fall apart because the revenue's not there to take care of it, maintain it. So it is necessary to get an accurate measurement of what people are using and bill for it, because ultimately it keeps clean water coming to our house and toilets flushing, and that's a good thing, right? So, I think I'm running. We went over the meters, so I'll kind of get through that. So that Neptune 360 is the software. You can log in. You don't have to. This is very beneficial during COVID. We were in the middle of installing a project down in White Castle, Louisiana, and I was able to go read the meters for them. They were able to log in, do what they needed to do from their homes. So business was able to still continue to move on. The reading, so there's a reading equipment that for the drive-by base, there's a piece of equipment that goes in a vehicle, and that Bluetooths to an app on a phone or a tablet, and that's what you do your meter reading, and you can upload from the field. No one has to come to an office, or it can all be done from the field. Just a little look at the you'll have a map, but that middle one you would have meters that were red and it turns green when you read. You can also look at it from a address standpoint. This is a sample of a data log to where they went to the customer, they did a data log download, and they were able to show the customer exactly what they used by the hour. I know I'm running out of time.
Yeah, great presentation. We have a hard stop in about 2 minutes. Are there any follow-up questions for Mr.
Back there.
Ricky?
Ruffino.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Wesley Chapel?
Yes.
Wesley Chapel, Mount Zion. The lady asked what was the closest location we had a system installed.
Thank you. Are there any more burning questions that we have to ask Mr. Ricky before we get ready for our public hearing? Well, first of all, we want to thank you for coming and sharing with us and giving us some insight as we move forward in the process of selecting a digital read on our water meters. All right, thank you so much.
Thank y'all. Time flies when you're having fun, but if y'all have any additional questions, y'all have my card, y'all have our information. Feel free to ask, and we'll answer.
Okay, we got you. We got
Thank
your
y'all
email.
very much for the time and the questions.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, I see there are none. Can I get a motion to adjourn? We got approximately 4 minutes before a public hearing. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilman Lewis and second by Council Lady Ponton that we adjourn the TIF District, Grambling Legend Square Taxing District meeting for April the 4th, 2024. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Well, I do want to introduce one of our newer members who have committed to serve on the TIF district, and his name is Mr. Carlos Wilson. Carlos, can you give us a hand? Raise your hand, let everybody see you. And next month, we're going to have a desk for you as well. All right, meeting is adjourned until 5:45. I would like to call this public hearing to order, and it's for the ordinance number 030741, the introduction of an ordinance of for the city of Grambling to establish standards governing short-term rentals or immovable property for lodging or sleeping purposes, and regulate all persons engaged in the business of short-term rentals, including, without limitation, property owners, operators, and guests. This public hearing is now open for public comment. If you have a public comment, please come to the podium.
Good afternoon. I guess more than a question, I have more than a comment, I have a question. Is that appropriate at this time? A question?
Yes.
Okay. My first question, I have two. My first question is there a plan to limit the number of short-term rental properties in Grambling at this time?
We hadn't discussed a limit
Okay.
number.
No,
Yeah.
fine. I
We
just
hadn't
was wondering. And then the other question I have is there, because these are short-term rentals, and I've noticed like some other places, is there gonna be like a specific tax associated with the short-term rentals that the city would benefit from?
Yes, yes, it is.
Yes.
It would be
I
a
didn't- 'cause
tax
I didn't
or
take the time
a
to read
permit fee or something along those lines.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. There was a item as it relates to short-term rentals. I think we probably, Mr. Fields.
Yeah, Reggie Fields. Question for me is, I see that there's going to be an introduction, but I would like to understand what the verbiage is, or exactly what is that introduction, or the verbiage going to say?
You're talking about the
ordinance.
the
right?
ordinance
Yeah,
itself?
exactly. And then the second question is, if it is adopted, when would it become effective? So those are the things that are somewhat important to me.
Okay.
I don't see why we couldn't send a copy to his phone.
Well, I don't know if we got at least 15 minutes.
You can run your copy.
Just for purpose of the record, this is a draft. There have been some additional questions that have been raised by Council Lady Ponton that have not been properly addressed. And I was going to make the suggestion that she state what those particular questions were, and that we further address them at the zoning and planning meeting, which is set for whatever the third Monday is, and go over them again with our coordinator, Ms. Gibson, myself, and Councilwoman Smith, because she's raised some additional questions that have not been discussed by the body that I think we need to discuss. And also in the draft, there were some additional changes that I thought we had addressed, but apparently we hadn't, that Councilman Brown brought out. And I know we have an agreement, verbal agreement from Mr. Brown that we satisfied his request, but we hadn't put those, we hadn't memorialized those in writing. So I was going to make the suggestion that we postpone voting on this so we can further address with the planning and zoning coordinator, Ms. Gibson, Councilwoman Smith, the questions, the additional questions that Councilwoman Ponton has. And so I would actually ask that she present those questions to the body so we can have further discussion on those.
Go ahead,
Mr.
Ms.
Fields.
Smith.
Yeah, so my question is too, is can you guys give us some highlight of what the verbiage is, even though I know you're gonna print out copies, but what is the,
Can you
maybe
do
the
it, Ron?
overarching message in terms of the ordinance? You want me to read on it?
Can you highlight it?
Well, the ordinance is to establish and implement approval standards for short-term rental properties in the city of Grambling. Let's see. A short-term rental, as we've defined it thus far, is a residential dwelling unit which is offered to guests for the purpose of overnight lodging for less than 30 consecutive days. You need to get a permit. For short-term rental standards, you have a registration process. The permit is required when the host rents an entire dwelling unit for overnight guests. We have a maximum occupancy, which we have listed on the application, which we're further going through. We have certain events that we say are prohibited, such as wedding, corporate events, commercial functions, that we need to further discuss. There are also additional issues associated with health and safety, land use, neighborhood impact, parking issues. Also, when there's certain issues going on, there's a provision that says if a certain amount of offenses occur during 6 months, 3 to 6 months, then it could result in the revocation of the license for the short-term rental property. We also have issues concerning the number of rooms and bedrooms that we're ironing out. And all this is in compliance with certain zoning, planning and zoning ordinances associated with the city of Grambling. So that's kind of like, and we also have certain fees associated with it that we're working on. And just other requirements associated with the property, such as smoke detectors, fire extinguishers, et cetera. There are certain violations associated with these Airbnbs that are further outlined in this draft. Like I say, it's a draft, so we're working on it. And that's pretty much a brief summation of what it is.
And just to echo and add to it just a little bit, one of the other things that was stated in there, we have to have local representation for that property. So if we have any incidents or any problems at the property, we know who to get in contact. And that person has a certain period of time in which to respond to us. If we call them at night, if it's 2 o'clock in the morning, you have 60 minutes, which is an hour, to get back in touch with us so we can let you know what the issues or the problems are that's going on at that property. That's another thing. And then we have where the cars, the amount of cars and different things can be parked at that property at a given time. What type of events you can have there. I don't know if if Attorney Latier mentioned it, but there are only certain types of events that you can have there. And the amount of people that you have. And the fact that within 300 to 500 feet of wherever that Airbnb is, you have to notify those people in that neighborhood that you are having or going to establish an Airbnb. Does that help any?
One more thing that I would add, there is an opportunity for existing short-term rental properties that already exist. When an ordinance takes effect, they will have 180 days to come in compliance.
And so the concerns that I raised, and I was looking at it through the lens of a former Airbnb or short-term rental person, was the first thing was the definition. And so our current definition is stating that it has to be an overnight lodging for less than 30 days. But as someone who's owned the Airbnb, I know that sometimes I would have people who would only need it for a few hours. So I'm not sure if that would count as a short-term rental or not. So I just wanted to get a clearer definition for that, or either not limited to overnight lodging for less than 30 days for that. So I just wanted to look at a different definition of it. looked at Shreveport's ordinances, and I like theirs, and it said a residential dwelling unit, accessory dwelling unit, or any room therein available for rent for a term of less than 30 consecutive calendar days, but excluding bed and breakfast and single-room occupancy. So they don't tell you that you have to be staying overnight there. So that's why I was interested in looking at Shreveport's language. Another component was that for ours, under permit types and use standards, our language says that the host rents an entire dwelling unit to overnight guests. And so, again, you are able to rent partial portions of your dwelling unit as well for short-term rentals. So if you have a separate entrance, a kitchenette, bathroom, or whatnot, then I want to know, are we only limiting those to just entire dwellings? Or will we be able to add language that says that you can have partial dwelling with it? Under the special events, it said that they were prohibiting corporate events, commercial functions, large parties, and other similar events. And again, I didn't want us to put ourselves in the box because this is a college town with a lot of different events that occur. We have graduations here. I know that we've done actual catering events at an Airbnb for a graduation party. So would that then give us the ability to revoke someone's permit just because they had a graduation party? So I was looking for us to be able to maybe limit the maximum number of people instead of saying we can't have a graduation party or a gender reveal or something like that at that Airbnb component. The portion that Mr. Letier was mentioning that Mr. Brown had was that initially it said that the dwelling couldn't have no more than 4 bedrooms, and so we're looking to remove that language, whereas we don't put a maximum number of bedrooms for your short-term rentals. Another component was that it says that a short-term rental permit may be renewed every 2 years. However, that does not coordinate or correlate with what we have on the application for the rental component because that says annually, but in the ordinance it says 2 years, so I wanted those to align together at the same time to make sure that they're talking about both of them. It also requests that the owner provide 3 years of property tax reporting and revenue tax reporting. I'm not sure if we need those types of records as the city, so I wanted to get more information on what does that do for us, why do we need those records? And then if someone were to acquire that property in less than 3 years, what is the contingency for that? Because they wouldn't be able to meet that 3-year component. When it said that the short-term rental unit is within the city limits of Grambling, and to have a contact person or a local person going with being able to be on-site within 60 minutes, I thought that that was difficult for someone, even if they live in Grambling, to report on-site within 60 minutes. Because if you're teaching, if you're a professor on campus and you have a Tuesday or Thursday class, that class is 1 hour and 15 minutes. It's not going to be possible for them to get your phone call and then report within that 60-minute time. And I wanted to know if we would have a grace period for those who cannot make those components, because we say that it has to be on-site for them. And also, with these types of things with Airbnb owners, they don't normally have a separate person who's just a property manager because this is not a 40-hour-a-week type of full employment job. So it's difficult to say that if you're at work that you're going to be able to report on-site within 60 minutes. So I just wanted to make sure we had a grace period for it. In addition to that, excuse me, in addition to that, sometimes they can have 30-day, there'd be short-term rentals sometimes, but we're town and gown. And so Grambling State University, I know for my property, they would call me, HR, in order for me to offer luxury transitional housings for seats with employees. Those contracts would normally not be less than 6 months. What does that mean for a short-term rental applicant? Because outside of that 6 months, I am still operating as a short-term rental. I just removed the property from the platform for that time that I am providing that short-term rental, or where that luxury transitional housing for Grambling State University, which not only circulates the dollars within Grambling more, but it also strengthens the relationship between small business owners, the city of Grambling, and also Grambling State University. Another component that I had was that having the addition of contact information on the application. So we have the application, but it doesn't tell us who to contact. If you're from out of town and you may not know all the key players here, I think it's very important for us to have good contact information for who to contact for those people. It also has components about ward district sections that's difficult for someone to know, or either it doesn't apply here to our city of Grambling, Louisiana. I also wanted to make sure that we included an appeal section in the event that someone wants to appeal the permit as well. There's a component that talks about being able, that they have to do their application for city and parish taxes, so we require them to do an e-parish file account, so that they'll actually be able to file their taxes each month for that. And then there's also a component that said for parking spaces, whereas we're saying that you have to offer one parking space per bedroom. Well, in some of these areas, you just don't have the real estate for that. If I am in a 3-bedroom townhome, I do not normally have 3 parking spaces for the entire townhome. So looking at being able to adjust that so that you're not requiring 1 parking space per 1 bedroom, because even when I rent as an Airbnb, it may be a 4-bedroom home, but there may be 1 parking space that's off-street. So making sure that we're looking at these things so that we're not presenting challenges for those small business owners within Grambling, Louisiana, and making sure we're also encouraging them to have relationships with Grambling State University by being able to offer short-term luxury transitional housing and being able to have those different small events, we can say a maximum of 15 or whatnot, at those lodging areas, because then they're going to have foot traffic within Grambling at Legend Square, gas here, and those types of things. So I just want to be able to circulate that dollar a lot more in Grambling. And those are my comments for the ordinance.
Thank you. Do you have all that in writing that you can submit to?
Yes, sir, I submitted that.
Okay. Are there any other comments as it relates to this public hearing?
Ms. Gibson, when is the next planning and zoning meeting? At
April
5 o'clock?
5 o'clock?
I would make a suggestion that we be there so we can go over all this with Ms. Gibson. She's the expert.
And Ms. Smith,
And Ms. Smith. 'Cause they're the-
Council Lady Smith.
Yes.
So we'll, Mr. Fields?
Excuse me, another question in terms of permitting. I think when we get the language clear, I think we need to make sure we have language in terms of the permitting as well, too, and what that requires. So we're all on the same page, right? So some people may get permitted, some people don't get permitted. So I think we need to be crystal clear on what that is. I think, or would like to ask that permitting also be available at the time of the ordinance is written. So if there's any dispute or any discrepancy on that, then it can be discussed at that time.
It's listed on the application. The draft application that we have, it gives you the requirements to obtain the permit as well. And there is a component within the draft ordinance that talks about what would be a successful application. So what you would need in order to have the permit. That was one of the portions when I was talking about the tax revenue component and reporting. So that falls under the permitting portion.
Okay, and then timeline too, in terms of the timeline that it takes to get permitted.
Yes, it asks for you to apply within 30 days. And so then you have 180 days for the existing short-term rentals that we have currently here. And that's what it is right now in the draft.
Right,
So they
right.
give a grace period of 180 days to apply.
Okay, so understood that, but what about, so you got 130 days to do the application, but is the
To have it
permitting?
in hand, is what you're asking?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
I'm not sure if they have that.
So
I don't
what's the
recall seeing that
question?
What
language.
was the question?
The
What was
question
the
is,
question?
once you submit the permit application, what's the longest that it would take to get approval? Is it gonna possibly exceed that 180 days? Or is there a timeline in terms of applications
I would
submitted?
doubt very seriously that it would take 180 days to approve a permit. I would say that's going to come through planning and zoning, and then planning and zoning, I would let Ms. Gibson speak on that. Ms. Gibson, where are you? It won't take 180 days, no.
Got it. Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Is there a meeting or an opportunity where we discuss the ordinance? Like, I'm not on the city council, but I would like to participate in the discussion of the ordinance. And so is there an opportunity for me to participate in that in any way?
April 15th at the
Planning
planning
and
and zoning.
zoning.
committee.
Okay, so it is gonna be discussed, like, in detail,
Yes.
in the planning and zoning. Okay,
Planning and zoning.
so it's a planning, actually a planning meeting.
Yeah,
Thank you.
planning and zoning. And that's for short-term rentals. This meeting has come to a close. The public hearing has now come to a close. We are past our time to start our regular council meeting. We will take all the comments and suggestions and meet again April 15th on the finalization of this ordinance. Are we in agreement on that? Do I need to put that in a motion, or we can agree to that? We agree? All right, all right. Our regular city council meeting is now called to order. May we stand for prayer. Oh, hold on just a moment. Can I get a motion to adjourn the public hearing?
I move that we adjourn the public hearing.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Council Lady Ponton that we adjourn and second by Councilman Brown. May we stand for our prayer and pledge of allegiance. I saw Reverend Callahan. Can you lead us in prayer this afternoon?
Let us look to the Lord. Eternal God, our Father, we come acknowledging you this evening, thanking you for allowing us to come together one more time. We thank you, Father, for your presence dwelling among us, that as we meet, Father, we ask that you would control this agenda, touch the hearts of everyone that's here, God. We speak peace over this meeting, and God, we pray that every decision will be made according to your will. Father, as we walk by faith, we trust you that you are orchestrating. Touch the mayor, the council, and every citizen that's here tonight, God. And we thank you for this privilege and opportunity. It's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Can I get a motion to adopt the city council meeting agenda for April the 4th, 2024?
I move the adoption of the agenda for April the 4th, 2024.
Second.
It's been moved by Council Lady Smith and second by Councilman Brown that we adopt the agenda for city council meeting April the 4th, 2024. Are you ready for the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion is carried. Can I get a motion to adopt the previous minutes from our meeting last month?
I move that we adopt the previous meeting minutes from March 2024.
Second.
Second. It's been moved by Council Lady Ponton that we adopt the previous month's minutes, and second by Councilman Brown. Is there any question? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion is carried. We are at the point in our agenda for public comments. We ask that we limit it to 3 minutes. Anybody have any public comments that you wish to express at this time? I see there are none. We have with us tonight Little Food Pantry. Miss Jada Blunt. Is Miss Jada, are you here? She's not here. What about Mr. Ethan? Come up. When I call your name, come up. Pronounce your last name. Yes, okay. Is Mr. John Meadows here? Ms. Meadows. Is Miss C.C. Williams? This group is going to do a presentation on the Little Food Pantry that they are proposing for the city of Grambling. There is some information as it relates to the pantry that they are proposing, or that concept that they are posing in your documents. Mr. Ethan.
Yes, sir. Mayor, City Council, and residents of Grambling, I thank you for allowing us to be here with you tonight to discuss the Little Free Pantry Louisiana initiative. And I'm going to have my team, they've been working really hard on this project here in Grambling, so I'm going to have them, just introduce themselves again. And
hello, my name is Imaja Williams. My nickname is Cece. I'm from Grambling. I go to Grambling State University, and I'm a freshman. And I went to Reston High School.
My name is John Mitters. I'm from Arkansas. I'm a freshman, and I went to Sewell Hills High School.
My name is Shamia Richardson. I'm from Reston, Louisiana, and I went to Reston.
Hi, I'm Tatiana Morton. I'm from New Orleans, Louisiana, and I went to West Jefferson High School.
all right, I thank you for allowing us to come and speak about the Little Free Pantry Louisiana initiative. And so this is a project that got started in 2022, and we started it out of a mission to provide food and other essential items to those in need across our state. So food insecurity is a big issue in our state, and I'm going to pass this document down, circulate it down to the mayor. We ran out of copies, but several people in the audience have a copy of our document which details the mission and goals of our initiative. And so this project got started to make food more accessible in the communities that need it most. And through standalone boxes that are implemented in accessible locations. It's just a little wooden box that we put up outside. We put it in accessible locations where the community can easily access it, and then people can come at any time and receive food and other essential items from those boxes. So we really push food items, toiletry items, household items, anything that families and people may need on a daily basis, and anything that is non-perishable. We say that it might be for a Little Free Pantry shelf. And so I really like to say that Little Free Pantries are smaller, more accessible ways of meeting people wherever they are in a time of need. I know everyone in here knows what a food pantry is, right? And a food bank. But food pantries and food banks aren't opened all the time. And so in those instances that the food pantries and the food banks are closed, we implemented Little Free Pantries to kind of fill the gap in those moments where you maybe can't get to the food pantry, or it's closed, or volunteers aren't available to give those items out. And so in the document we have this all on our website as well. We've made a lot of progress since this initiative started. We started it in 2022, and our first location is in Louisiana. Does anyone know where that is? Right below Minden? And so we started that location there because they didn't have a food bank, they didn't have a food pantry. If they wanted to go and get items in need, they would have to travel to the neighboring cities to access those items. And if you're somebody who's in need, you may not have a car, you may not have money for gas. And so we thought, let's at least get a Little Free Pantry there, and that'd be something to meet the gap in those instances and provide food, needed food items. And so since 2022, we implemented 16 locations across the state of Louisiana. We have about 3 locations down in New Orleans. We just implemented 5 in the Baton Rouge area. And we also have several across North Louisiana, including several in Ruston and one on campus at Louisiana Tech. And we're working with the Grambling students to try to get one in the city of Grambling, but as well as on the campus of Grambling State University, so we can reach the university level students who suffer from food insecurity. And so in the document, those of y'all who received one, Feeding Louisiana has found that 1 in 7 people in the state of Louisiana suffer from food insecurity. So So that means just about every one of us know someone who has suffered or is suffering from food insecurity here in our state. And so that's over 600,000 people. Louisiana ranks in the top 5 nationally. So food insecurity is a big issue, and a lot of people think of it as a big issue in other places, in our big urban cities like Los Angeles and New York. But we have hungry people in our small rural areas, just like here in Grambling, over in Sibley where we started our first one. A lot of people don't see the hungry, so they don't think about it in the rural areas. But this has been a much needed resource in a lot of our rural cities, and as well in our urban cities, in implementing locations in New Orleans and Baton Rouge as well. So we have a map on our website, and that's been a big part of this project, is connecting and implementing little free pantries across the state. So we've implemented 16, and we've connected 5 existing locations across the state. And so we've made community partners, those churches, those civic organizations that set up their own little free pantry. We connected with them to get their little free pantry on our website so we can have all the information in one place where it's most accessible. So if you're somebody in need, wherever you are in the state, you can access the website, find the little free pantry closest to you, and receive from it. And then just as well, we have a big base of volunteers that go to our website, find the little free pantries closest to them, and give to them as well. And so in expanding this project and hoping to push this project forward in Grambling, we've been working for several months with students at Grambling trying to identify a location that would be suitable in the city, as well as funding the project. And so we've got together with some students at Grambling, and that's how we funded our little free pantry that has been built. It's just about ready to set up. And so now we are working, hoping to connect with the community to find a location that's suitable. And one thing I will say, kind of in wrapping up the summary about what this project is about, community involvement and engagement is one of the biggest factors of this project. I got it started in 2022, and we've got locations across the state, but I tell people it's the people that keep this project going. And so in any city that we try to implement a new little free pantry in, I like to work with organizations, work with groups, and I've been working with the Grambling students to get it funded because it's something that they want here, as well as work with the community to find a good location where it'll be most accessible, where people will most appreciate it, and that it can be easily available to those just passing by and those who want to receive from it, as well as those who like to give back and contribute to it.
Amen.
Yeah.
You are to be commended for your efforts, all of you all, the efforts in this. Because you're seeing the need and then you're addressing that need. So thank you for having an opportunity to present tonight. And we are certainly going to work with you on our part to see if we can identify an area in our city that's most convenient, along with Grambling State as well.
Where is the location for the one for Grambling State?
We don't have a location identified yet. We're in the planning
so you're doing
stage.
for Grambling State and the city of Grambling. Okay.
Hope is to get
Okay,
one on the college campus and one for the community. And so we're kind of leaning towards that model out of how it's worked in Ruston. We've got 3 in Ruston, and then we have 1 on the campus at Louisiana Tech. And so we found, in putting these little free pantries, it's most important to find the good location because that makes it accessible to the people. So we have 1 in Ruston by CCA, which is the Ruston Food Pantry, and that's really accessible to families. But we also put 1 on the university campus right by Tolliver Hall to reach the college kids, because a lot of college kids are hungry as well, and that's been a very convenient location for them because college students, a lot of them, I've always told them, go stock the CCA pantry or go see it. They don't know what CCA is because they may not be from here. So having 1 right there on the campus has really reached that audience who is
What's your
also in
square
need.
footage of it?
It's about 2 feet by 2 feet wide, so it's just a small box. And I'm going to pass around some of my cards, and they have pictures of the little free pantries on them, and you could see our website as well. But they're 2 feet by 2 feet. We paint them, and they're pretty compact, but big enough to hold the needed items so people can come by and receive them.
And then you mentioned requesting for funding. Is it that the entities or the municipalities need to fund it? And if so, what does that look like?
So for the Grambling Little Free Pantry, it's funded. We fundraised for that. But in implementing new Little Free Pantries, we usually go through sponsorship. So we've had corporate sponsors. We worked with LSU Ag Center. We worked with Walmart, who's sponsoring 5 in the Northwest Louisiana region. But that's how we fund the Little Free Pantries, and we go through our builder who builds them. And, you know, the fee he charges to build them, that's what we charge in the sponsorship fee.
Good deal. Any other questions for Mr. Ethan? So just, let's do, our next step is, can we follow up with you in some way? Maybe by way of email, so we can maybe set a meeting so we can have a sit down?
Yeah, I'm passing out my card to, it has information for the website and our Facebook, social media, as well as email and phone number. So feel free to reach out if you have any questions, or especially if you know anywhere that would be good for a Little Free Pantry, because that's how it's grown, through communities reaching out saying, hey, we need one here, and then we try to go find a sponsor or try to find a group that fundraise for it, and that's how we've been able to make the project work.
Another question, Ethan.
Yeah.
How can one donate, a resident, if I wanted to donate to the pantry, how do I donate, or anyone else in here? How would we donate?
Yeah, so donating's really simple. You just go up to the Little Free Pantry and add items in.
And just put them in?
Yep. And it's 24/7, and so that's something we really highlight. 24/7 accessibility is really useful for those who are in need, but it's also accessible for those who want to volunteer on their own schedule. So at any time, you can just go drop items off in the Little Free Pantry and then tell others about it so they can come and receive from it.
Okay.
All right. Any other questions? I want to thank you all again for coming in and presenting your presentation tonight.
Thank
Look
you,
to hear
Mayor,
from us.
City Council.
All right. Look to hear from us. Next up, we have on our reports, the Police Department, Chief Clark.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, and citizens.
Good evening, Chief.
All right. The first thing I want to say is that we got to remind you all that the legislative session is in full swing. We have 102 bills that affect law enforcement, and if they affect law enforcement, they affect the citizens. And I want the citizens to start checking the website, looking at them, and kind of make sure you agree or disagree, and let your representative know, because that's what's going on. It's a lot of changes as it relates to juvenile law, and, you know, we don't want to come down the pipe and then everyone is surprised, because it will affect our community greatly. So we want to look at that. So we talk about that lead right into that, looking at information from the police department. The first thing I want to address is the juvenile issues. Again, I want to caution the citizens, if you have a problem or any encounters with a juvenile, contact the police department. Do not take it upon yourself to chastise or intervene with that juvenile. I see they had a couple of incidents this past month, same situation, maybe even at school, where a parent thought maybe they could talk to the kid because they know the kid family. However, the parents are not that open to them chastising or contacting their juvenile. They want the police, or even sometimes had a problem with one of the teachers dealing with the juvenile. So just make sure if you have any issues with the juvenile, basketball goes on the roadway, things like that, contact the police department, and they will address it. We need you to lock and remove valuables from your vehicles. That's all. I don't know how else to say it. I guess if you're not going to lock it, you should remove phones, cash money, guns, credit card, purses, laptops, and things of that nature. We're still losing a lot of that property due to unlocked vehicles. And all information that the citizens will receive, as far as information and emergency message, will come through the Civic Ready system. We got that set up. So if you start hearing things that's not related to our area, you may hear them or see them, but vet it. Don't just assume. If it's not affecting the city, we normally in the city would not put the information out. We don't want to create a state of panic, but we do want you to know that if you get the information, we'll vet it, and then if it relates to this citizen or going to affect us, this city, we will put it out through Civic Ready. And scams are increasing. They're coming in by telephones, fax, and emails. You know, when someone sends you, when someone sends you a message and you don't know the zeros, it's most likely it's a scam. When you got that much money coming in, but they want you to send them $10,000 so you can get it, you know, just send me the balance. If it's me, I won't send you no money, then we'll be good. So, you know, just know it's a scam. But I do have elderly citizens who get concerned, and they will send that money. And if they send it, there's nothing we can do about it because they freely sent it. No one actually came to them. They sent it on their own, so they just lost that money. So if you got anything that come up like that, make sure you vet it. And if you're concerned, just call the police. You know, we can look at it and see what it is. There will be increased traffic enforcement. It's coming springtime, coming into the summer, so traffic will be up. College Avenue, I see they worked traffic on College yesterday. Should Dr. Clark as well. I seen they had a couple of citations out there coming in at 61, 62 mile per hour. That's 35 mile per hour zone. And so we want to make sure we stay on top of that, and that's going to be citywide. And Tiger Fest is scheduled for April the 15th through the 21st, and we've been in communication with the university. We want to try to have a safe Tiger Fest, but remember, you know, we have college students, we have visitors. Now, the university is restricting most, 90% of their events will be restricted to college students only. So that's going to help us out, but that's still not going to stop locals or outsiders from coming in just to hang out. So just work with us. We want you all to be safe. And do I have any questions? Anything? Okay. Any needs? And again, if you have any needs for the city, if it's after hours, feel free to call the police department. Just like they were saying about the Airbnb, call the police department, and then we'll make contact with the official that you need to make contact with. If it's after hours and you can't get someone, just make sure you call the police department. Be it water, electric, or personal, call the police department. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Any questions for Chief?
Yes, ma'am. There's 102 bills that actually was introduced that affect law enforcement. And okay, yeah. Let me make sure I make it clear. All of those bills are not specifically for juveniles. There's some stuff in there for juveniles, but a total is 102 that affect. Like, say, me and the sheriff, we are constantly back and forth to Baton Rouge and dealing with different committees because of the bills that affect law enforcement. Say, like concealed carry. It's coming, and, you know, it's coming, it's here. We know it's going to come into effect. And, you know, the caveat is most people you talk to say, you know, they just want to get on even footing with the criminal, even though we have the law is there, convicted felon cannot have a firearm. 90% of the time when we run into someone with a firearm that shouldn't have it, it's going to be a convicted felon. You know, normally if we have a citizen that have a firearm and they just have it in their home or have it in their vehicle and they're authorized to have it, they would tell us, you know, I have a gun in my glove box or in my trunk or whatever, a firearm. And, you know, they have a right to bear arms. But on top of that, they just felt like they was being outgunned because most people wasn't having them, even though the law was there. And now, you know, looking at 18 to 21, you know, now anyone that's over 18, the way we see it now, that law is going to be law, that they're authorized to have a firearm. And, you know, that's going to affect everyone in this room. My only concern would be that they have training. You know, just buying a gun and not knowing how to operate it is worse than not having one.
That's right.
You know, so I feel like they should have some type. I just felt like you know, it should have been some type of training that came along with it. Just say, hey, they have an 8-hour class, a 4-hour familiarization, just anything to say you know how to operate the weapon. That's what I feel. And maybe, and even on top of that would be safe storage. You know, how do they store? You know, we have all these firearms out now. My biggest fear is they're gonna leave them laying out, forget about them, and then some toddler gonna get hold to them, and then that's gonna be another tragedy. So because that is a session in law enforcement training. When you're in the academy, firearms, you got a whole day on safe and securing your firearm, you know, because every officer have kids that come around family members. And that's when you don't see this rash of kids getting shot by officers' guns. You know, that's a full-day class. And now you're telling everyone in America, well, in the state of Louisiana, they can have a firearm, and they're going to go out and buy a gun, and we all know that some people are going to leave it on the table, some people are going to leave it on the nightstand, and kids are curious. And there we are. So. Yes, ma'am. I got free gun locks at the police department. Usually any event we have, but you're welcome to come by the station, and we still give them there from the desk. Yeah. We got about 2,500 of them now, still. Okay.
Chief,
Yes.
I think what Ms. Smith says is worthy of further scrutiny when these bills are passed, or can we have like a public meeting to go over some of these bills?
Yes, we can.
For our citizens here, the do's, the don't, what to look out for,
Yes.
how to approach a police officer when you have a firearm, some things of this nature,
Right.
what is going to be required of you.
Yes, we can come up with that, you know, after we get these bills and everything coming to law further on down in the year when we see what's happening, how it shake out.
Yes.
And we definitely can do it. It won't be a long, drawn-out process. And to make sure we hit everyone, we might have to do a couple of them on a couple Saturday mornings, maybe an afternoon in the week.
Yes.
Catch those different groups, and just kind of let them know what's out there and what it is.
Yes.
The biggest thing about the juveniles is they want legislation is to roll the juvenile law back to what it was back a few years ago, which back to 18, 17, you can be incarcerated as a juvenile. That's the biggest thing. Because if you know in this state we're totally out of juvenile space. Right now, if I have a juvenile that committed a heinous crime in the city limits of Grambling, it may take 6 hours to get that juvenile in custody. When I say a heinous crime, it's 1 out of 13 enumerated felonies ranging from first-degree murder down to carjacking. But on those type crimes, we can't release them back. We have to put them in custody. And, you know, I had one that I was saying how to send him to New Orleans. And I'm telling you, if I send a juvenile to the New Orleans Juvenile Justice Center, he's going to be a hardened criminal in about 2 weeks. And that's just it. I mean, that's how bad it is, the system is. So I don't want to be responsible for that. You know, I don't want to take kids that have a run into thing and they're not fully developed and then turn them into a hardened criminal because they got to survive when they get there. And so in all of that, you know, the lucky part of that was I was able to get in touch with the juvenile center in Natchitoches, and the guy said, hey, I really don't have a spot for him, Chief, but I'll take him because if you send him to New Orleans, it's going to be problems. They're going to run him. So that's what we did.
But that's the type of information that our citizens need, and let's get together and provide, you know, more information as it relates to those bills that are being passed that will affect all of us here tonight.
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, sir, you're welcome.
Any other questions from the council? Okay, thank you, Chief. Next we have is planning and zoning, Ms. Gibson.
Good evening. Good evening. Council and citizens. And Chief, that was good information because I got information about a scamming just the other day talking about if they call you and if you just say yes when you answer the phone, they have a way of doing something with your property. So be careful about when you answer the phone and they say, is this Mary Gibson? I say yes. They have a way to do something of that nature. But anyway, I'm here just to give a little tidbits of updates. Some might be wondering about the property tradition development over on Highway 80 next to the school, Lincoln Preparatory School. They have finished their infrastructure. It's complete, the water, the sewage, and the roads. They're getting ready to start the process for housing, the lots, buying the lots. So if you're interested in buying the lots, you could always talk to DSLD Homes, LLC, and website is www.dsldhomes.com. And it's going to be different homes over there. There'll be different forms of, designs of homes in that area. So all of them look the same, and they are going to build them once you buy the lot. So it won't be like they build them and then you buy the lot. So they'll be built after you buy the lot. The next thing is the Exxon. The Exxon, as you all see, is coming along over across I-20. So it's coming along. He thought he was going to have a soft opening in March, but it's kind of pushed back. So I talked to him today. He said he's trying to get it for June as soon as he can. So it looked like it's going to be pretty nice. Like I said, he's going to have an eatery up in there and some other things. So we'll have another place to go for our. And the other thing, I have a request to start a plaza. It's called Tiger House Plaza. And that's going to be over across the street from the
Legend
Spring
Square.
Market. I'm sorry,
Yeah,
Spring
yeah,
Market.
Spring Market, yeah.
Legend Square. It'll be across the street from Legend Square. It's going to have 7 spaces. It's going to have a daiquiri shop in there, a barbecue restaurant, an event space where you can eat, place where you can have baby showers, meetings, and different things like that. And it's going to be 4 other empty spaces that will be rented out. So that's a couple of things that has come across the desk for planning and zoning. That has not been approved yet. The plaza has not been approved. It's being requested. So they would have to bring all their plans to planning and zoning, let us review them, make sure everything is in order, and go through the process. So that's had not been approved, but hopefully it will be, because that'll be revenue for the city of Grambling. So while I'm up here also, according to beautification, we are going to partner with the Keep Louisiana Beautiful. I think that's the way it's called. That's the name. Keep Louisiana Beautiful, which will be April the 20th. And we're going to partner with them. So I think the Varia will give you a little bit more information on the ins and out. And I think I see another with the Grambling State University representative back there will give you a little thing about the in and out of how that would go. So other than that, those are just a few of the updates that I have for the city, the citizens. So are there any questions?
How many houses are in the first phase for traditions? I couldn't remember.
Okay, in the first phase, it's going to be 55 houses. They're going to complete the first phase first. They're going to come to the city planning and zoning, I think in May, to initial their second phase, which would be 52 lots.
And then I'm not sure, because I asked them that, my concern is the traffic over there. So I wasn't sure if the Department of Transportation would do another survey, because with them sharing, and I know this isn't for your component, so it's just information and a concern that I had, is that having them sharing that driveway with Lincoln Prep and then coming onto that busy highway MLK and trying to turn right or left, I wasn't sure if they would be able to do another traffic study, because with 55 houses, you're going to have probably at least 100 additional cars that's going to be coming onto that highway, and I'm just concerned about increase in accidents or how people are getting on or off the highway, bottlenecks when it comes to those common times like lunchtime, going to work, buses coming in, school letting out at 3 o'clock, just trying to see what are some of the traffic calming measures that the developer may have in mind, or if, like, Department of Transportation comes back in to see that we have a need for a light or something, or another exit way, because right now that's one way in, one way out with those additional cars and houses and younger people driving. So that's just one of the concerns that I have with it. And again, I know this isn't part of the planning and zoning, but it's something that I have a concern for with those developers, to see if they have a plan for that.
Well, when I talked to the developer today, I asked him about the driveway, and he said DOTD had required that they put it there.
Absolutely.
Instead of putting it in the curb, because it was more dangerous for the curb instead of coming and sharing the driveway with Lincoln Prep. And I did ask them about the additional outage, which they may be able to go out. He said it wasn't I guess a road back that way where they could have another outage there. So I did ask them that.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Can I answer that? We looked at that, and that's a good point that you made, Elizabeth. We've looked at that before, and actually I've gone in and looked at it, and I've even priced the systems that you put up. But one of the issues that we have to get approval from DOTD before we can put it out there because it's a state highway. It's a little, this and that, but they didn't mind us putting one out there that didn't have the flashing lights, but the one that has the flashing light, they have to give us approval. And we've looked at it, and that system would cost us less than $10,000 to put it out there at the school. And what I had advocated to the council and the mayor, that since the school came in and put the sewage system that hooked the city of Grambling and came all down 150, I said that we in turn ought to do this for the school ourselves. We ought to pay for it. And that's where we are with that. But that's a good point. We need that light. We need those flashing lights. Anybody that has traveled down 167 South, and there's a school down there, I can't remember the name of the school, it's the Rapides Parish School. And when you go down there and they have the flashing lights when they're in session and different things like that, they have the flashing lights that let you know it's a Dry Prong, down near Dry Prong. They let you know that you're coming up on the school zone. I've looked at those, and we question it. Once we have the money we can secure the money that we could do it, we can request DOTD. I talked with them about it, we requested, and they would give us permission to do it. That's good. We're gonna try to do that. That's excellent, because I live on Old Grambling Road, and I'm scared to turn in my driveway. And I did leave out a couple of businesses. That we have the new liquor store that's coming across from Ledger Market. Also, we're going to have a new event center in the village and a new beauty shop in the village also. So we have quite a few things coming to the village businesses. So shop Grambling first. All right.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Gibson. We're up to Public Works. Ms. Black, are you here? While Ms. Black is making her way to the podium, Ms. Black and I, along with Councilman Brown, we've been talking about those caution and speeding signs over there by the school. So, Ms. Black, can you just give us an update of some of your information that you found? I think you talked to DOTD.
Yes, sir. I did also speak with DOTD in reference to the mayor mentioned that he wanted some type of speed sign in the school zone area going east and west on Old Grambling Road. we've looked at several different types of signs. I spoke with DOTD. We are able to post signage in the area that they currently have speed zones posted for the school. We cannot post to their actual signs. We have to put our own pole there. So we can do that. We're just still looking for signs because they are very costly, as you, they are very costly.
Right.
And not just putting signs in the school zone area, but also in other areas. I believe Chief mentioned about college. We wanted to do east and west on college, some type of caution sign over there. That would be West College.
Yes.
In that area, over by the school. R.W. Jones, in that area on the other side of the interstate. We need east and west going over to Gar Road in that area, and also on Stadium. I was shared with the mayor that coming off of Central onto Stadium, that can be a bad area because when you're trying to make a left turn onto Stadium, cars are flying coming up from 80. So that's a bad area also. So that is one of the projects that I have been tasked with that I am working on. So any information, Chief Lewis, I still call him Chief Lewis. Any information, we can share back and forth in getting it done. Okay,
Great.
okay.
Great.
Any questions in reference to that? The corner by the village. Okay. Uh-huh. Okay. Mm-hmm. Right.
That's right.
So if I'm sitting at the stop sign, and you come down College Avenue, and it's my turn to go,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to start to pull off.
Right.
But because you were on College Avenue, you have a yield sign, so there's nothing ever telling you to stop.
Right.
So we've just been looking, I just want to be sure.
I got you.
That is so
Chief Clark.
I don't know if Chief, yeah.
Chief, you making a mental note of that? So we can sit down and talk and address that? Okay. Well, since this no longer exists, can we sit and talk and see if we can make some adjustments there? Okay. Well, let's circle the wagons and revisit that. Okay, Miss. Thank you, Miss Smith, for your comment. Miss Black.
Okay. On my further updates, I have Mayor Bradley shared with you in last council meeting in reference to being in the process of obtaining uniforms for the Public Works Department. Where we are with that, he approved the emblems for the polo shirts and for the high-vis shirts for the actual public workers. Right now, we are waiting for a date for them to come out and do the sizing. Once we get the date for them to come out and do the sizing, Andrew, who is our sales rep, assured me that we will probably be like 4 weeks out at the most before we get the uniform.
Okay.
So that's where we are with, and the company that the mayor chose to go with is Airmark. So that's where we are with that. PPE, personal protection equipment, has been brought up in several of the council meetings and by several of the council members. We have purchased PPE. It is all in Councilman Brown.
Thank you.
So we can get together and decide on next week when you
Sure.
want to meet with them.
Okay.
So we have the rain gear is in, we have personal protection equipment as far as the earplugs, the safety goggles, safety glasses, and they have gloves.
Great.
Okay. Let's see, which I understand they're asking for the rain gear right now because they said we're expecting rain next week.
Do they have shoes?
We have not, I'm sorry, the shoes have not been done yet. I believe Chief Clark was tasked with that, as to getting the safety boots. He's working on that.
Thank you.
Okay. Let's see what we have. Oh, and outside of the PPE that we've ordered, I was also tasked with ordering traffic barrels, safety barrels with lights. In light of the water leaks, in light of street issues, potholes, Mayor Bradley felt like he needed some additional equipment that can be placed in those areas. These traffic barrels were purchased. They arrived on Tuesday, I believe. They come with the amber light. So it's just not going to be the plastic barrel out there. It has a flashing light also to let vehicles know that, you know, there's an issue in this area. Okay. Let's see. Okay. And this is my last update. Public Works has been partnering with Councilman Brown in reference to getting the street signs repaired and or replaced. On last month, Councilman Brown shared with you, and I think the previous council meeting also, that Public Works replaced 46 signs, repaired and or replaced 46 signs. We have a new list, so we will be ordering an additional 30 signs that need to be replaced. And it's going to be ongoing. Grambling may be small, but there are a lot of street signs that need to be replaced. Along with ordering the street signs, we got the new street, Dr. Burdick's Copeland Junior Drive, so I will be ordering a sign for that. And we will also be ordering some additional stop signs. We need to replace some of our stop signs. So, y'all excuse me, I'm nervous.
That's all right. Take your
Okay.
time.
Okay.
You're doing a good job.
Let's see. I think that is all the updates that I have, unless there's any questions.
Now, I just want to make one comment to assure the residents of Grambling. This administration, I will assure you, the cost of 2 signs, I know that's been brought up 2 or 3 times, we would not let that be a showstopper because safety has no price tag on it. We're going to do all we can to protect our residents. So I don't want you to be alarmed that we're holding back because of the price of 2 signs. We're going to buy the 2 signs, okay?
Yes.
That's a no-brainer, so I just want to put that out there.
Yes.
That's good.
I have a
Right.
question. You can go ahead. I wanted to know, is there a mechanism in place to determine when street lights are out so that they can be repaired?
Chief Clark?
Okay, but who do you get the poll number from, the citizens or?
Mm-mm.
Do Claiborne Electric operate the same way?
Yeah, he's correct, I'm sorry, and I defer to him because you can't tell the
That's
streetlights
fine.
are out unless you're out here at nighttime. And sometimes I do get phone calls in reference to that, and as Chief Clark stated, I follow the same procedure if a citizen contacts me in reference to that.
Is there a mechanism in place for potholes?
I currently have a ongoing list, so if you call me and say that there's a pothole on your street, I'm going to add it to my list. If we deem that is something that needs to be addressed immediately, we do have a Kubota tractor, we do have cold mix on hand, and we will go and fill the pothole until we can get the proper work done that needs to be done for it. So there's always an ongoing list.
Thank you so much.
I have a question.
Okay.
Question in the back.
Yes, ma'am.
Very hard. Yes, indeed.
Thank you, Mrs. McIntyre.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, to identify the, I do my best to make it a point to follow up on them, everything, but I understand what you're saying, yes, ma'am. And I can implement something like that in my work schedule. I
What about,
understand, yes,
what about the
ma'am, I
people that
understand.
read the water meters?
Mr. Albritton also assists her a lot. He identifies potholes for her.
Thank you. Is that all?
Well,
Yes.
and one other
Yes.
thing, Ms.
Thank you.
Black.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Mayor, I want to state the fact that Ms. Black and I, we've been working on a lot of, you've seen water running where that we've had busted lines, and you've seen water and different things like that. Ms. Black has been steadfast, and she's been all on top of that. There are a lot of different things that she does, and you know, I applaud her for doing that, because oftentimes we out there and we fixing holes, we fixing pipes, we doing all different types of things. And if you see any water coming up, now don't talk to me about that one across from Gallows Barbershop. Other than that one, for the simple reason we're in the process of trying to figure out what to do with it and how to fix it. Right? Correct, Mr. Black?
Yes, sir. From what I understand, I know that there were several other leaks that were repaired. And it was stated to me that we were holding up on the water leak that's on the corner of Main and MLK because there was an issue at hand in reference to cutting the water off. So, yes, sir.
And
I
one thing
think
I'm-
that's, go ahead,
And
Councilman.
one thing I'm very proud of, I spoke to Mrs. Black, I think one of the biggest achievements last year, we did not go 1 week without our sanitation trucks running. Even if we had a truck down, we had a backup. If an employee was out, we had another employee. So I want to commend her on that. I think that was a big monumental task that they accomplished last year.
And yes, thank you for that. And on that note, we've recently had the sanitation truck was serviced. Needed an oil change. It hadn't been serviced in a while. So it just last couple of weeks ago, it went in for a 41-point service. So hopefully we'll continue to have it running properly and we won't have any issues. I know we had at one point one of the stands that the young man has to be on when holding onto the back of the truck. We need to get that repaired. We had some other issues with leaks. All of that has been taken care of, and they're up and running and, you know, doing their best to make sure that they get all the trash up in a timely manner.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Black. You did a great job. She said she was nervous the other day when I told her she had to. She was kind of nervous there. Next is our water department. Ms. Prudhomme, are you here?
Yes.
Can you come on down? With our water department, Ms. Prudhomme is handling our water department. And Ms. Prudhomme, do you have any report that you'd like to give us an update?
I do. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
I know the council has worked really hard on getting us civic ready, and that was something that I really, really wanted. And I'm stressing to all the citizens to please sign up for it. That's the only way you're going to know what's going on in the city. We put up closures when the city hall is closed. water leaks, water boil advisories. It's just important information that we do put on there. So we would like for you all to sign up for it. It's free. I also wanted to add something, Mr. Bradley, that City Hall is closed at 5 p.m. All transactions should be done by 5 p.m. So in the event that we're cutting off water, we're stressing to everyone that they come in before 5 to reconnect and get your water turned back on. After 5, we will not be doing that. You will have to wait to the next business day. Ms. Blacks spoke about the leaks already, and we're just waiting to confirm when we're going to fix the leak on Main and MLK. And I believe that's all I have.
Well, I would like to say that there is, thank you, Ms. Prudham. Any questions for Ms. Prudham before she leaves? Thank you, thank you.
Civic Ready.
I did want to say,
I'm sorry, Mayor.
no, go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, I like giving people their flowers when they can, and I want, for Ms. Prudham, I want to applaud her also. I tell you what, the ladies up here, they work really, really hard. And you know, a lot of time people in the city give them a very hard time, but they work hard trying to make things right for everyone.
And we are looking at it. The gentleman, the contractor that they repair our leaks here in the city, we're coming up with a game plan as to how we're going to attack fixing that leak. And it may require us to bring the system down again to repair that leak. We would love to do it live, but I think the pressure is going to be too much coming out of there to fix it without bringing the water down. So we will be, once we get our heads together and our map plan of action, we will be notifying the citizens as well as business owners when we will be bringing the system down and what the time expectancy of repair would be. One other thought, and I'm just throw this out here, we're going to circle the wagons after this, we can talk about it. I was talking to one of the guys that was fixing the leak, and he said that in some of the towns, they fix the leak at night. In other words, from 10 at night to about 5 o'clock in the morning, they should be back up and running again. So there are some other options as in other ways rather than bringing it down during the day. However, which way we do it, you will be notified by way of Civic Ready in the means that we used the last time, KGRM, see what else we did, our website and Facebook. So I did want to give you guys a heads up. That's coming down the pipe. Also in Public Works, I want to give you an update. The lights on I-20. The lights on I-20. Well, the south side has been fixed. It was a contractor that the contractor did an analysis and found out that it was a contractor that had went out. He replaced it and got those lights back on the south side. Now, the north side is going to be a little bit more work to get those north side down. But he assured me that they will be doing something in the morning to do an evaluation and give us a timeline as to when we can expect to have those lights on the north side working. So that's an update on the lights on the I-20. There was various people asking about that. Our fire department, we have been doing some interviews, and our expectation is to try to have somebody here no later than May 1st. That's how we praying that we can have a person in place in that position by May 1st. Also, Ms. Smith, she worked real diligently, Council Lady Smith, in getting us the ladder truck. And I did email Chief Kimball at the Baton Rouge Fire Department and asked him when would it be a good day for us to come down and take a visit, a site visit, and look at the truck and get it scheduled to be transported up here to the city. So that will be forthcoming. Hopefully we can have it here the 1st of May as well. Financial report, Ms. Tony Jackson is out tonight. She had a death in her family, so I think the funeral is tomorrow. So she was traveling today to get to Denver to be with her loved ones as they have the burial for her aunt. If you have any questions concerning the financial report that Ms. Jackson presented to you, please email her or myself, and we can make sure we answer all questions concerning our budget. The old business, which was the adoption of the ordinance for short-term rentals, will be delayed, but not denied. We will work through whatever items that we have to work through to have this ready for presentation on May. Am I right? So April 15th is planning and zoning, but do we need to meet before April 15th? No? Okay.
Mary's shaking her head, yes.
Yes? Okay.
And that's for who?
For the, that's Ms., I know Ms. Smith had been working on it, and Ms. Gibson had been working on the ordinance, and Attorney Latier, and Council Lady Ponton. Can we might not have to do it tonight, but can we come up with a date that we can just sit down in this setting or in this room here or in the conference room back there and go over what we need to do to get the verbiage right for this short-term rental? Okay. Under new business, we have adopt a proclamation for April Fair Housing Month. It's been suggested or recommended by the governor for the state of Louisiana that April be declared the Fair Housing Month. And they've asking all municipalities to adopt a proclamation. Is that proclamation in there? Yes. Okay. Ms. Stringfellow, can you read the just the gist of the proclamation?
Whereas Title 8 of the Civil Rights Act of 1968 during the month of April is an occasion for all Americans, individually and collectively, to rededicate themselves to the principle of freedom from housing discrimination wherever it exists. And whereas this law guarantees for each citizen that critical personal element of freedom of choice, selection of the home, and whereas a fair housing law has been passed by the state of Louisiana, and implementation of the law requires the positive commitment, involvement, and support of each of our citizens. And whereas the department and agency of the state of Louisiana are to provide leadership in the effort to make fair housing not just an idea,
ultimately diminish the rights and limit the options of all. Now therefore be it resolved that the city of Grambling does hereby proclaim the month of April 2024 as Fair Housing Month in the city of Grambling. It's asking the mayor to sign it.
You've heard the proclamation that has been set forth and requested that we adopt it as well as a municipality. Can I get a motion to adopt the proclamation?
I move that we adopt the proclamation as read.
Second.
It's been moved by Council Lady Ponton that we adopt the proclamation as read, April being the Fair Housing Month, and second by Councilman Lewis. Are you ready for questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion is carried. We're up to the point in our council meeting that we set aside for announcements. Are there any announcements from the council?
Yes. On April 20th, well, annually, we participate in the Keep Louisiana Beautiful initiative, and so that is a week long. And so it is to clean the different areas in Louisiana, and so it starts on April 20th and concludes on April 28th. So we will be partnering again with Grambling State University. We are excited to present that we have a new partnership with the Lincoln Parish Police Bureau. So this year, they are actually going to provide for us 60 litigators, 60 vests, and a host of other things, gloves, and also the bags. So we are asking for volunteers. We will be here April 20th at 8 a.m., and then it concludes usually around 11 a.m. So we are looking to have volunteers to assist in the litter pickup. Last year, we didn't have a lot of litter because we have Mr. Albritton and his team, so they're always picking up the litter to keep Grambling nice and clean. So if you would like to volunteer, please meet us here at City Hall on the 20th of April, and that is from 8 a.m. until 11 a.m., and we'll go through the different streets in order to do our litter pickup. Additionally, don't forget about the Medicaid Unwind initiative, so that means to making sure that you are updating your contact information with Medicaid to make sure that you do not lose your coverage. I have nice little tchotchkes here with me, so you can have a pill box organizer, a Band-Aid holder, and also pill splitters free of charge for you. That concludes my announcement.
Thank you. Any other announcements from the council?
I have one, and a short one. It's something that I just found out just recently. If you're 65 years old and older, the taxes that you pay on your home, you can have those taxes stopped. And they can't go up. You can have them frozen.
Okay.
I don't know if everyone in here knew it. I didn't know it. Huh? You didn't know it. So if you're 65 years and older and make less than $100,000, your taxes on your home, your homestead taxes, can be frozen. Didn't know that.
Homestead exemption.
If you make more than that, you're in trouble.
Okay. Any announcements from the audience? Yes, I see a hand in the back there. Sister Tatum.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
And thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm happy to remind you that the Grambling Branch NAACP banquet is April the 27th at 6 o'clock p.m. We'll be in the Black and Gold Room on the campus. And I want to make sure you hear this part because this is in addition to previous announcements. We're asking you to help us by becoming a sponsor for $500 or to purchase a table for $320. Now, the purpose of that, of course, we give the scholarships, but also to help our youth. Remember, we have a number of things planned for the young people in this area that are cultural and enlightening in terms of museum visits, etc. The tickets, if you want an individual ticket, and I have some here with me, they are $40 each. So we really need your help and your support. And I know I can depend on you. Can I? All
Yes,
right.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
I'm here. Our president is also here, Pastor Callahan. So please help us. We need your help. And I think you'll be very pleased with what we are going to do, because we have a special thing we are doing that even the president hasn't been told.
Yeah, all right. What time, Sister 6 o'clock? Okay.
Mayor, a quick note. I'm talking too much. I need to say this.
Go ahead.
On April the 16th, with Miss Lang's group of senior citizens, I will be putting on a fall class, what to do in case you fall, how to prevent falls inside the house, and how to strengthen yourself to make sure you're not having these different issues. I've had one, I did one at Mount Harmony. I will be doing one at 1 o'clock on April the 6th at Rocky Valley. And at 3 o'clock, I'll be doing one in Ruston at Pilgrim Rest. 16th, that's a Tuesday, the 16th. That's a Tuesday. I'll be doing 2 classes that day. So anybody that's 55 and older, the class is extended to you.
Okay. Y'all putting that in your phone? Because you're trying to keep that in your hand. You're going to walk out of here and forget it. I do have a couple of announcements, and then we'll go ahead on and adjourn. I got this announcement from the Delta Sigma Theta chapter, alumni chapter. They are hosting an event here at City Hall it's called DEARS, DEARS, and it's an event aimed to equip older citizens of the Grambling community and surrounding communities with resources they need for their day-to-day living. So that's this resource fair will be held Saturday, May 18, 2024, from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Again, that's here at City Hall, May 18th, 2024, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. And to get further information, you can contact Ms. Patricia Hutchinson, 318-237-6019, Ms. Mary Jameson Davis, 318-614-9236, 9236. Also, Grambling State University Visual and Performing Arts present Little Shop of Horrors, and it's Monday, that's this Monday, May 8th, April 2024, Monday, May 8th, April, I'm sorry, y'all help me. Thank you. Through Thursday the 11th, am I right, Ms. Bradley? Oh, okay, all right. 7 p.m. nightly. And Mr. David Call, K-A-U-L, is of the person that's putting it on. And it's going to be in the Little Theater on Grambling's campus, Performing Arts Theater on Grambling campus office. $10 general admission, $5 for those 12 and under, and free for GSU students with a valid ID. So those are the 2 announcements that I have. Wanted to bring you up to date. One of our very own, Ms. Brenda Daniel, she had a setback, but she told me to let everyone know that she's on the mending list and that she's working her way back into the farm to where she can come out and visit with us at our council meetings. So she did want me to let you guys know that she's on her way back. Go ahead.
I have one.
Go ahead.
Mayor Bradley mentioned the reason why Tony wasn't here, and again, we offer our condolences. But if she were here today, She would like for you all to know our budget through January 1st through March 15th, actual versus forecast versus actual, we were favorable. So I just want the residents of Grambling to know that.
And I just have one thing, Mayor Bradley, as well, sorry.
Say it again.
I said I have one announcement as well. I got one.
Okay.
This is it.
All right.
On April 9th, the AARP group will meet here at, I believe it's 10 o'clock in the morning. I'm presenting for them on how to avoid scams, so that was right on time with Chief talking about that today, in addition to showing how to work their different devices. So we'll be talking about phones, iPads, and all those different devices here with the AARP group
Thank you.
on April the 9th.
Thank you. President LaMelle will be April the 11th, I think about 6 o'clock at the museum, Eddie G. Robinson Museum, for a listening presentation just to sit and talk with the community. That's our night, April the 11th, beginning at, I think, around 6 o'clock at the Eddie Robinson Museum. Meet President Martin LaMelle, Jr.
I'm sorry, it's actually 11 o'clock, not 10.
Say it again?
It's 11 o'clock, not 10. I just
Oh,
checked my
okay,
schedule
all
for
right.
mine.
Thank you. Is it 11 o'clock in the morning? Oh, okay, I thought it was 6 o'clock in the
No,
evening.
no, not right now. I was just saying for April 9th for the
Oh.
AARP meeting. I said 10. I was incorrect. It's
No,
really.
it said 6 o'clock, okay.
Yes, so 11 o'clock on Tuesday, the 9th.
Oh, okay, all right. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second, moved by Councilman Lewis and second by Council Lady Giles. Are you ready for the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion is carried.